Okay, there we go. Alright, we ready to end this? Things are not looking good for us, though. Court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready? Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor. Ooh, Edgeworth doesn't look happy. I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you also seem distraught, Mr. Edgeworth? It's nothing, Your Honor. What's wrong with Edgeworth? It looks like something unexpected just happened to him. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Mr. Impact's suicide note. Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we have discovered that the suicide note is a forgery. What? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This note was not written by Ms. Impax herself. It's a fake. Order! Order! Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what's going on? If this was not written by Ms. Impax, then who wrote it? We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Carita. Mr. Carita? Well, well. Well, I guess I would presume he wanted to smear Engard that badly. He couldn't find the suicide note itself, so he just wrote what he wanted it to say. It looks like Ms. Impax never left a suicide note after all. She never wrote anything about Engard. However, Your Honor, even though the suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. Engard could not have known that, and so that fact remains unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had to have plotted to possess it. That does sound very plausible. This theory that Engard had no idea the suicide note was fake. Something seems a little wrong with it. The defense believes that the theory the prosecution stated contradicts testimony. If everything the prosecution's proven up till this point is true, then it's impossible for Mr. Engard to not have known it was a fake. For the same reason that he knew about the bear. What is this little item called again? A video camera, Your Honor. Well, a very small one, but... Oh, that's right, a camera. Oh, you kids and your fancy toys nowadays. Mr. Edgeworth, earlier you claimed that Mr. Engard knew about the existence of this note because he was spying on the victim. Isn't that right? If that were true, that means Mr. Engard would have known that the victim had forged the note. So then the defendant knew the suicide note was a fake? And if that's true, the situation suddenly changed in a very dramatic way. Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. Engard's motive for murder was, it suddenly disappeared into thin air. But, Your Honor, it's not as if Mr. Engard monitored Mr. Carita 24 hours a day. Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. Engard didn't know of. Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us some proof that the victim made the forgery in an unknown place? Yeah. Order! Order! Mr. Edgeworth, it looks like this time it's you who's dug his own grave. As I figured. As you figured? As I figured, it came down to this after all. Mr. Edgeworth, you're not making any sense. When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? What next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. Ongard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle. Well, I agree with you there. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time. Oh, well, that's fine. However, this witness is a little unusual. Edgeworth's stuttering. This isn't like him at all. Unusual? What sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth? This witness is one who is perfectly fit to answer once and for all the question of who was it that hired Shelley D. Killer to commit murder. That's impossible. Who in the... No such person exists who can answer that question with such certainty. Certainty? Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. Who is this witness? It's, Yes, go on. Who is it? The man himself, Mr. Shelley D. Killer. Oh, Mr. D. Killer. How are you going to call him to the stand? Wait! Shelley D. Killer? You mean the killer? You mean the assassin? Yes, Your Honor. He's coming here to the witness stand? Well, yes, in a manner of speaking. I recognize this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission. Well, Mr. Wright? Yes? Is this all right with you? Do I have a choice here? I can't really do much else to drag this trial out. The defense has no objections, Your Honor. I wonder if it really is all right to do this. Very well, then. The prosecution calls its witness to the stand. Edgeworth. Is there no other way left to us? Now then, witness. Your name and your, occupation, please. It's the transceiver. Very good, sir. My name is Shelley D. Killer, and I'm a professional assassin. I say! What is going on here? Your Honor. How can you remain so calm? And what is the meaning of this two-way radio? Actually, Your Honor, it was delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. D. Killer will testify to the court. So this must be what that urgent phone call he got earlier was about. I see. Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court. First of all, we can't even be sure this is really Mr. D. Killer himself. Witness, please some sort of proof that you are in fact Shelley D. Killer. I understand. Please wait a second. Oh. Maya. Maya! A voice? Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this? The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelley D. Killer. Looks like we've run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under these circumstances, so... Now then, witness. There is one thing I'd like to confirm before we speak of anything else. And what would that be? At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Carita. Is this correct? It is as you say. I did indeed kill Mr. Carita. Now that we've answered that, let's move on to the name of your client. Very well. This is all just a bad dream. Yes, that's it. A bad dream. Shelley D. Killer. What is he gonna say? He's trying to get his client off. So he's definitely not going to tell the truth. There is something I first must state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I'm here today on this witness stand. It is my wish that you grasp this concept before I give you the name of my client. Mr. D. Killer seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say he seems to be mocking us. While he may appear to be our enemy, Your Honor, Mr. D. Killer is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by this one belief. You mean about this trust between his clients and himself thing? It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend. Well, Mr. Wright, are you ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. There's no way to know what's coming next, so stay cool and collected, Phoenix. Okay. Nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. The trust between you and your client. I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner. In exchange, I trust that my clients are discreet about me and my identity. If too many people knew my face, it would be quite troublesome. And that is why you're testifying in this manner. This is the first time one of my clients has ever been accused of murder. I must preserve the D-Killer name so my clients can trust me. But couldn't someone stab you in the back and break your trust? It has never happened before, but if it ever did... Yes? That person wouldn't be my client for very long. They would certainly... That's enough, please, no more! Very well, it was only a hypothetical anyway. That is the reason I'm here today on this witness stand. That seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think that this would be very bad for them. It doesn't matter to me. This client has already broken the rules and acted outside of their prescribed role. Oh? Their role? This person tried to implicate another of the crime in order to save themselves. And this is a trespass that cannot be forgiven. Who gave you the right to be so high and mighty? To the gentleman who spoke just now, excuse me, but would you care to die? No, I didn't say anything. Judge better watch himself. Somebody wish that you grasp this concept. We understand, so please tell us the name of your client. I'm afraid I cannot do that. Yeah, the judge is a pushover anyways. Except to Phoenix. I still have a few things to say before I do. Ugh, that egomaniacal... It's not good for your health to be so aggravated. You won't live very long if you let everything bother you. Somehow that coming from an assassin makes it less than comforting. I don't really care about all this extra fluff, just tell us the name already. Patience, try to calm down a little. It's important to try and understand his mindset. He seems very steadfast and closed, so you're gonna have to work to get him to talk. I'm not his therapist, you know. Yeah, and you said this person broke your trust. The trust between you and your client. Yeah, fast, efficient manner. I'm sorry, but I was wondering about something you just said. You said that your client had already broken the rules. A person who frames another is the worst kind of human. And that's why you feel you can betray this person. I have no trust relation with a client who cannot understand their assigned role. Just my luck. An assassin with a conscience. Who'd have figured? Now then, everyone, do you think you can understand my logic? This case just keeps getting better and better. If you cannot, then I'm afraid we can't proceed. Let's see. Everyone understands your point, I think. Really. In that case, I believe I'm prepared to disclose the information you seek. You've made it crystal clear that you value trust over all else. I believe we're ready. Excellent. Now then, I do believe it's about time I revealed the name of my client. Don't you agree? What is it? Now I can't bring myself to ask the client's name. If you can't ask it, Mr. Wright, then I will. Witness? What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Kurita? That person's name is... Adrian Andrews. What? What? Witness! That's not who you told me it was earlier! Pray tell, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I should think I know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews. What?! This can't be. On the phone earlier. What's going on here? My guess is that Mr. D. Killer just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back. Stabbed Edgeworth in the back? I'm sure in order to get an audience with this court, Mr. D. Killer told him a different name. Matt Ungard, perhaps. I knew it. This is outrageous. I was deceived. The witness is telling a very serious lie. But you were the one who summoned the witness. He's got you there. You, Shelley D. Killer. My testimony is the truth. The defendant at the moment is Matt Ongard, am I correct? All he wished to do is help procure his acquittal. Wow. All of a sudden it feels like we can actually win this. Yeah. Prosecution has failed to provide a motive and has instead provided the suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there is a possibility the defendant himself knew it was a fake. But most definitive of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. Mr. D. Killer's client who requested the murder was not the defendant at all. No. With all this evidence, it's obvious to me that this means Mr. Matt Ongard is innocent. I seem to have caused you all a bit of confusion. Please, continue your discussion, and call me when you've reached a verdict. Bailiff, please bring Miss Adrian Anders in immediately. What now? With the way this is going, Ongard will be found innocent. This may be our last chance to save Maya. Yeah, but Edgeworth is right. D. Killer is lying. And Ongard, my client, I know he's guilty. Can I live with myself if I win this? Who would have believed that the prosecution's own witness would absolve the defendant? Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelley D. Killer is certainly lying under oath. It wasn't me. Listen, everyone, please. That testimony just now. It was all one big lie. Ms. Anders. The suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he's the reason Celeste died. And Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me. It was a horrible, horrible lie. But Mr. D. Killer himself has testified. He named you as his client. No, that's not true. Also, there's quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and button, donning the nickel samurai costume. But that's... You even have a motive. We know Miss Celeste Impax was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her, and you wanted revenge against the two who hurt her. I'd say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead. No. Mr. Wright. You know the truth. Tell them. Tell them the real story. Who the real killer is. Tell them. Please, help me. Yes, I know the truth. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? I believe we've reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defendants for any final words or opinions. I have to decide. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya? Or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do? Nah, we can't let it go like this. Phoenix. I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept the not guilty. You're a lawyer. I know. But Matt Ongard is a killer, a murderer. I can't let him get away with this. I can't let someone else take the fall. If I let Miss Anders be convicted, then I'm no better than Ongard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it's because of Edgeworth that I now know the real truth. He could have gotten Ongard convicted so many times over, but he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust. His trust. I never thought about it until now. I trust him. Yes, you do. No, I know the other context of that, though. Mr. Wright, your opinion, please. The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. D. Killer. Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright? Right. But that witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done. I'm not done yet. To see through witnesses' lies and find the truth. That is my job, Your Honor. Attaboy, Phoenix. There's still more evidence to look at, and I'm sure that once those pieces arrive here in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur. Very well, the trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please reestablish connection with Mr. D. Killer. Right away, Your Honor. Has a verdict been reached? Before that, we'd like to talk to you a little more. About? All you needed from me was the name of my client. What else could you need me for? Well, actually, we'd like to hear everything you know about this case. That's how things are, usually done. What's he talking about? Usually done? But what shall we have him testify about now? Mr. D. Killer, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail. You legal people and your procedures, is it any wonder no one likes to go to court? As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Anders is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime. while pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene. Adrian Anders already knew from the very beginning that Juan Kurita was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. That act is what I was referring to when I said my client had broken the rules. This is a most unexpected turn of events. For the 5th time now? However, this time has finally been revealed. Just a second, Your Honor. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? We still have the cross-examination to do. But you don't need to question the testimony like this. Do you, Mr. Wright? Your Honor, the defense will question the witness. As if I have a choice here. Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony, then I'll expose the lies of that oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose. I don't understand what's going on anymore. That makes 2 of us. What is it, Mr. Wright? If I press him the wrong way, it might raise suspicions on his end. But I have to do something to waste more time. Witness, about requesting a hit. Yes? How much is... How much is your fee? Why do you want to know, Phoenix? I see you're also quite a dark-hearted man, Mr. Attorney. Huh? If you would like to talk business, we can do so after the trial. No, I am not thinking of hiring. Mr. Wright! Yes? You want to kill me! You want me dead, don't you? Why would you think something like that? You're guilty! Mr. Phoenix Wright, you are hereby declared guilty! Witness, let's continue. Why did you disclose the name of your client? They are your client, are they not? You simply can't overlook his tampering with the scene of the crime. I would think that most people wouldn't be able to overlook a person hiring another to kill. If I had a problem with such a thing, I wouldn't be very effective at my job. Yeah. Well, a change in occupation might be good for you. However, I will say this. Even though I am the one that does the deed, my clients are always the real guilty party. That goes without saying, Mr. D. Killer. And their fate is to live with the knowledge of their guilt on their shoulders. However, my client this time thought that they could run away from their guilt. My client did it to frame another for the crime. Are you talking about the button and the knife? Yes, and my business card. Oh, this card! So that no one has to waste their time, including the police. I always make it a point to make things as easy as possible. You try to make things easy? My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service. He's pretty devoted to his work. But to disregard everything, to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook. It's really hard to tell if he's being truthful or not without him being here. So you're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing? That is correct. Usually most people try to create an alibi for themselves. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I would suggest you plan for your alibi too. No, I already told you I have no intention of using your services, ever. Judge is giving us that look again. Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial here? Adrian Anders already knew from the very beginning that Juan Corrida was dead. From the very beginning? That is correct. From before my client visited the room. All my clients know precisely what the situation is at all times. I wonder if that's really true. That's odd. They both noticed something on that statement. Being more appalling is the creation and planning of the knife and button. So why do you think your client did that? What do you mean by why? Well, fiddling around the scene of the crime is pretty risky. And why would someone who's requested a murder go to the crime scene anyway? That's true. I assume it was probably done to frame Mr. Ongard. If that's the case, then why didn't the person just request that you do it? Sadly, that is not possible. My job is to kill, that is all, and to leave my business card behind naturally. The business card is so my clients may escape blame. To protect them is my duty. Even if they say it's for revenge, setting someone else up to take your fall? That act is what I'd referring to. And that's all you have to testify? Yes. And I pray that I will never be called to the stand again. Again? As in you plan to continue? I must, as I've yet to find a person to take my place and become the fourth successor. Actually, how would you like a new life, Mr. Attorney? Excuse me? No, I'm fine, really. Are you really now? I wonder what kind of man the judge thinks I am now. What are you gonna do now, Phoenix? All I can do now is expose the lies. That's true. However, you realize that will be very bad for our client, right? I'm so confused. But the one thing I know for sure is I can't let this trial end yet. Stated thing. She already knew from the beginning that he was dead. Nope. Because she wouldn't have left the wine glass behind then. Thank you for taking so much time to testify. Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. D. Killer. What is the meaning of that attitude? When Adrian Anders entered the victim's room, your client had no idea Juan Corrida had been murdered. But how do you know that? From this wine glass, Your Honor. The glass? Mr. D. Killer's supposed client thought Mr. Corrida had only fainted, which is why this glass of tomato juice was poured for the victim. But isn't that just a part of Adrian Anders' calculated plan? That's not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they would never have left their fingerprints behind. I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? Strangely enough, I had the exact same thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon? Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It's not a very important point anyway, correct? I'm afraid you're mistaken. If Adrian Anders really is your client, as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Corrida's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Anders was never your client at all. How strange. Yes? Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection at this absurd situation? Phoenix? If D-Killer figures out what we're up to, we're in real trouble. Yeah, I know. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence. Ah, sorry. That's it? Just a, oh, sorry. Well, that was an awfully weak objection for the two of you. Anyway, I'm positive there was a contradiction in that testimony. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken. Very well. Right now, I have to buy us more time. While we wait for the items D-Killer left behind to get here, I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items. This request came to me about a week ago. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory, and I believe I've made no mistakes. So you physically met your client, huh? That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. To me about a week ago. One week ago, are you sure? Yes, I'm quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparations, and I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you'll keep that in mind. Please, stop. In any case, my client this time had a very specific date and time in mind. Specific date and time. It was a request for my services on the night of the awards ceremony. Did you ask why on that specific night? No. I tried to fulfill all the conditions of my client's request. But as for why, I only had my suspicions. Your suspicions, huh? Do we need... Even if I ask about him, it would only be a guess. I see. That's fine, then. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. So you physically met Adrian Anders, right? Oh. Of course I did. What was that? What was with that brief pause? Witness, I'd like for you to give us a few more details. I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail. And why is that? That's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. And the only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye. Well, Mr. Wright? Was the testimony just now of any importance? Of course, it was very important, Your Honor. If Mr. D-Killer had met his client before the murder, then it's unlikely he's mistaken. So you're saying that his client really was Adrian Andrews? I guess so. You see, it's just as I said. I'm so lost. Who the heck am I supposed to be helping here? Calm down, Phoenix. Think carefully and relax. Okay, wait. That's what occurred. I trust my memory and believe I made no mistakes. principal. I guess not. Why he meets his clients isn't important, and that wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my questions. What do you mean by that? My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person? I've already told you, Mr. Wright, I did. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. You done fucked up, son. That's when I thought I can trust this person as a client. It's true what they say about talking face to face. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? If I heard what I think I heard just now, then I think I've got him. Your Honor, I believe the testimony just now was of the utmost importance. Huh? Really? If that's the case. Witness, please include the statement just now in your testimony. Very well. I'd like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time. Yes, that is correct. And that's when you thought he was trustworthy. How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct. I'm sorry, but that's an impossible tale. What? Shelley D. Killer. You've never met the real Adrian Andrews. Why would you say that? Because you made one very big slip-up about her. So it's the issue. And then we find out Adrian's a man in drag. What did you say just now? About her? If you ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you she's a woman. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Wright, what's the meaning of this? This witness testified to the following. That he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their request. But he's never met Adrian Andrews in person. Yes, Your Honor, that's exactly the point. That means Mr. D. Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews. Oh my god, it's sweating oil. Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake? I believe it has to do with her name, Your Honor. Right. Her name? Yes, Adrian Andrews is, without a doubt, a very androgynous name. Yes, Adrian can be a guy's name, too. Yes, I see. Unluckily for Mr. D. Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender. And so, he simply picked the wrong gender to go with. What? What's going on? Shelley D. Killer, this court demands an explanation. I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another. So does that mean you remember something different now? Yes, of course. Please, if you'd allow me to testify once more. I know he's just going to spit out more lies. Very well, but this time, please give us the truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, now what? Yes, now I remember. I took that request by mail. There have been times when I took a job without having met my client. That's not what you just said a few minutes ago, buddy. The request was for the murder of Juan Kurita and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man. So you took this job through a letter. He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he's definitely lying. Be careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us. I know, I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. Like we said, we can do this. As long as he's standing there across from me. No matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it. Now then, let's begin the cross-examination. Took the request by mail. Happened times. The request is for the murder of Juan Kurita and 2 or 3 other small things. What things were those? 2 or 3 other things? Yes. And what were these other things? A few other things that have nothing to do with this case. Should I do? Should I let him slide with that? It'd be really bad if I pushed his buttons the wrong way and he got mad. Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide. Mr. Attorney. Yes? Everything I have said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client. Which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue with this cross-examination. Shit. He's coming on to us. Nope. Catching on. Could it be that you're planning to betray your own client? That's... I smell the stench of a backstabber. And should you turn out to be one... Wait. Uh-oh. This is looking really bad. I shouldn't press my luck. Alright, I have to think. Is this worth pushing? Let's keep going on this. Witness, this is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what those other jobs your client requested were. If it's truly that important, I suppose I don't have much of a choice. The bear figurine. The bear figurine. After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine. I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing. And where was that figurine? It was inside Mr. Kurita's suitcase. And then, what did you do next? I handed it over to my client right away. You gave it to your client. Interesting. This information certainly sounds important to me. Witness, please include what you state in your testimony. As you wish. One of these was to find the bear figurine and give it to Ms. Andrews. Oh, right! It tells of On Guard's misdeeds. If Adrian wanted it so badly, Why would she want it so badly, then? And to destroy it at that? Shelley D. Killer. If you had really given the bear to Ms. Anders, then this item shouldn't have been inside it. This item? I see where you're going. Yep, that's where I'm going. Where's everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase? Judge, please. Your Honor, please think back to Ms. Anders' testimony. And I was gonna burn it for her sake. If even for a single minute this bear had actually been in Ms. Anders' hands, I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it. Order, order, order! So that's where you two are going. So by the very fact that the suicide note was still inside the bear, tells us your client didn't know how to disassemble the puzzle. Which means... It means, Your Honor, that it's impossible for Adrian Anders to be the client. And it blew up again. Order! 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 Mr. Phoenix, right? I'm sure I mentioned this before. How I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement. No, that's not... That's enough. If that's your intention, there's only one thing for me to do. Wait, please! Gentlemen, ladies, please excuse me. I have a matter that I must attend to. Oh, shit. No, please. Not that. Please, wait. Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end and I may stay my hand. Otherwise... What in the... Mr. Wright, are you... Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. I didn't understand this witness's outburst just now. Do you think there's a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough? Well, we should. Edgeworth, we can't do this. If we keep this up, Maya, she'll... The prosecution, What has come over everyone? Even your... The prosecution... rests. What's going on around here? The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor. What? Shit, so what's this mean? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I'm reluctant, I must believe that Mr. D. Killer's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelley D. Killer's client is... Adrian Andrews. Oh, no. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? If I end the trial here, right now... Then your client, Matt Ongard, would be declared innocent, and in his place, Adrian Anders would be charged with murder. Miss Anders would be charged with murder. Prosecution has no further questions, so we'll now hear the defense's final remarks. Shit. Bailiff? Please bring the defendant, Matt Ongard, to the stand. The items from D-Killer's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out. I can't believe it. The outcome now lies in your hands. Dude, did the old guy finally decide? To be honest, I can't think of you as a truly innocent and good person. You've done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But, at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you're innocent. So, guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out. Mr. Ongard! What an atrocious lawyer I have, giving his own client up like this. And that refreshing like a spring breeze crap, it's just as atrocious. Don't you agree? So you don't really care about that at all anymore. Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer? Should I side with justice, or should I save Maya's life? You better get Ongard a guilty sentence, okay? But if I did that, Maya will die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is gonna end. It all hinges on what I choose. Now then, Mr. Wright. Let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Matt Ongard, is innocent. There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer's gonna say what I want, aren't you? Right. I can't do this. But I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. My client, Matt Ongard, is... We're waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Ongard, your client deserves an answer. Maya, I'm sorry. Matt Ongard, what? Oh, that... Francie! What are you doing here? Ow! Okay, there's her usual greeting. You see now, don't you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off that scruffy fool. Did you bring them, the final pieces? Do you have them? You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. Von Karma is perfect in every way. The evidence is here in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy, he's fine, and his injuries are minor. Well, that's good. All the items are inside this. What a filthy old coat this is! Oh, that's his coat. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere. I apologize for its ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap the items in. I fought long and hard this whole trial. All for what's inside that raggedy coat. I'm sure inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence. Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence. Your final evidence? This trial's already over. All that remains is for me to hand down my verdict. I do not believe that any evidence presented now would change the outcome of this trial. What? Your Honor, it's our duty to examine every piece of evidence, down to the last. I request that Ms. Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence. I suppose you're right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so. However, this one obvious rule applies here. If these items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted by this court. Now, Ms. Von Karma, if you please. These pieces of evidence are items left by D. Killer during his escape from the police. He must have been in quite a rush. Yes, Your Honor. D. Killer left 3 pieces of evidence. Somewhere among the evidence we're about to see, there will be something that will turn this whole situation around. I'm sure of it. That's all we can hope for. The first item is a pistol. Does D. Killer's pistol have anything to do with this case? Does that pistol have any relation to this case? We have yet to perform a ballistics test, so I can't say anything for certain. However, I believe it has something to do with this case, at least with me. That's the pistol he used to shoot you, isn't it? That's what I believe, yes. Oh? I kept the bullet they removed from my shoulder as a sort of memento. I'm sure it will be an excellent sample for the test. So that's the pistol that was used to shoot Franziska. It's probably not going to help us very much. The second piece of evidence is this videotape. I'll bet D. Killer took that from On Guard Mansion. Yes, like father, like daughter. Have you checked the contents of that tape? Unfortunately, there was no time to. Oh yeah. But I would speculate that this tape is very important. Why would you say that? Because he came back to his hideout for it. D. Killer went back for it? That's right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers at the site. But somehow it looks like they managed to protect it from D. Killer. Shelly D. Killer is no ordinary man. The last piece of evidence is this bellboy's uniform. Is that a uniform from the Gatewater Hotel? Was that used during the crime? I am almost certain it was. There's even a pair of black leather gloves in one of the pockets. Ah, yes. There's no doubt about it. D. Killer was wearing this on the night of the murder. There's one thing I found interesting about this uniform. And what is that? There's a button missing on this uniform. A button? It's a very unique button. I'm sure if we were to recover it, it would provide us with an interesting clue. That is all I have to present, Your Honor. Just as I thought. And what is that, Your Honor? I'm sure, were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelly D. Killer's hideout would be very important clues. However, our question is not who did the killing. It is who is the client. Yes, that is correct. And those 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now. Wait, Your Honor. Please allow me to examine this new evidence. Overruled. This court already has all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict. Wonderful. Absolutely splendid. This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he? You be quiet. Is this the end? Phoenix. I knew it. There's no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there? I think you're wrong. I think they do exist. But you have to make that miracle happen. You've come this far. You can't give up now. But no matter how you think about it, it's... Try, for my sake. Just think about it for a second. There are two ways out of the situation for us. Two? The first... Make Enguarde wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict. Huh? D-Killer will always place his client's wishes first. If Enguarde himself wishes to be convicted, then he'll let his hostage go. That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible. The second way? Force D-Killer to end his contract with Enguarde. If D-Killer were to no longer think of Enguarde as his client, then he would let Maya go. Mia, that's even more impossible. However, I know how we can do both. He's a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else. I know both of these seem like impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one happen, it would truly be a miracle. The bigger problem is, the judge has already said he doesn't need any more evidence. The pieces he was just shown, he's not accepting them. Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what's always worked for us? The other side? Wait, does she mean... You mean to turn things around? Phoenix, the judge says he doesn't need the evidence. If that's the case, then who does need it? The person who needs the evidence. The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We've seen all the pieces of evidence, and that's how we've come to know the truth. But there's one person who has yet to see them all, and that person doesn't know the truth. That truth, it may be what will bring about the miracle in the end. There are no objections this time, correct? Now then, I'll pronounce my verdict. Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen, kids? I've already told you, Mr. Wright. This court doesn't need any more evidence. I'm not saying it's us that needs the evidence, Your Honor. Then you want to show the evidence to that person? Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I will grant you one chance. Okay. This is pretty much it. One chance. I know, right? That person. Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person. That's impossible. To turn the situation around in one try? One try. That is all I will permit. I have to try to remember everything that's happened up to this point. Think, Phoenix. Think. There must be a way to save Maya while taking Enguarde down at the same time. Now then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show evidence to? Okay, now, if I fuck this up, I would get the bad ending of this. This game actually does have a bad ending, unlike the others. Do you guys want to see me go for that first? Or do you just want me to finish this up? Noble says finish it. Okay. Okay, so Enguarde has said that he values... Wait, he said who do I want to show evidence to? Or, D-Killer has said that he values trust in his client above all else, right? I see. And now, tell this court what one piece of evidence you'd like to show this person. The video from Onguard's mansion. Remember what Onguard told us in the detention center. He was videotaping the murder and wanted to use it to blackmail D-Killer with it. Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth? I think there is some merit in showing this evidence to that witness. Bailiff, please bring in the transceiver from earlier. Alright, it looks like I managed to convince him. Maya, she's okay, right? Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with bringing about a speedy end to this trial? Now, if I understand correctly, you wish to show me one piece of evidence? Yes, one is all I need. I have here a videotape. It was found at your hideout. I heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back. That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape. I thought so. I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard. Do you know the contents of this tape? I was sternly told by my client to not watch it. So I have absolutely no idea. Actually, you're on this tape. Me? There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded. What? Is that true, Mr. Wright? Who was it that planted a camera? Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally. That was Adrian Andrews. Be quiet and listen, Your Honor. Yes, sir. Your client specified a place and time for you, isn't that right? Yes. That was so they could film you. I had no idea. Mr. Wright, why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why. Why did Matt Onguard film the crime scene? The reason why he did that is my ticket out of this whole mess. There's only one reason why your client would secretly film the crime scene. Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you, and this is what they said. But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yes, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay and even blackmail him if I want. Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say to that, Shelley D-Killer? It looks like I was being deceived from the very beginning. Yes, by a natural. That's the kind of person they are. Your client's a person who only thinks and plots of how to use the people around them to protect themselves from any and all dangers that may arise. That's the true nature of your client. I have one question for the witness. Yes? You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said that you detest traitors most of all. Yes, that's right. But what if the traitor was your own client? What would you do then? That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then that client would become my next target. For the honor of the D-Killer name, even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to exact my punishment. Whoops, indeed. I see. That's all I wanted to know. So the traitor becomes D-Killer's next target. I get it. This is how we'll turn this case around. Mr. Wright? Yes? My contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return to you your precious item. What the? I'm not an item! Beep. Maya. Thought I'd never see you again. Thank goodness. This trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I actually am sort of... I don't quite know what just happened there with the client and the witness and... Miss Von Karma, where did that... She always has you in her sights. Now, I do believe it's time to finally hand down a verdict. Not looking so cocky now, are ya? Mr. Ongard, it looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You'll finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy. But before that, I would like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I mean if you watched this video. Help me. Now then, Your Honor, the verdict, if you please. Is this all right with you, Mr. Wright? We finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells you. Right, Chief. Congratulations, Mr. Matt Ongard. Please, make sure to savor every moment of what little time you have left. Your Honor, as always, the defense pleads not guilty. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Matt Ongard, Please, wait! What's the matter? If I get a not guilty, I'll be killed. Hmm? I'm... Damn! His breakdown is pretty damn satisfying. As always, it looks like we've uncovered the real truth. We? I don't remember you were helping out much in this. Mr. Edgeworth, how's Matt Ongard? I've left Ms. Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he's getting a full-course meal of whip leather right about now. Good. Very good. Yes. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness? Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. The first time I was called to the witness stand during this trial, all I felt was despair. She must be talking about the time Edgeworth really went after her. I guess she's trying to forgive him for what he did. This witness, how should I put this? She has an illness. If you're gonna say you would choose death, that's of no concern to me. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself for who I am. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I had finally been saved. Aw, she's finally smiling. Wow, this is the first time I've ever seen her smile. I'm really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. This is the first time I felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone. Looks like we resolved everything at last. As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about. But everyone seems to be in good spirits, and that's good enough for me. That's all. This court's adjourned. You were great out there, Phoenix. What I did out there was right, wasn't it? This is the first time you've not gotten your client off. You got them a guilty verdict this time, but you have to look past all that to what's really important. You now realize that there's something more than just getting a not guilty, right? Yes, I understand now. Phoenix, think back for a second. Think to the moments before Ms. Von Karma arrived with the final pieces of evidence. Think about the incredible decision you had to make. Yeah, no kidding. Is he guilty or is he not guilty? Those were your choices then. And your answer? Your answer spoke to what being a lawyer means to you. Right. Edgeworth? I have good news. Maya's now safe in police custody. Really? Pearls, you're telling us the truth, right, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, she's quite safe. She's on her way here as we speak in a patrol car. Ah, Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya's safe! You did it! You really did it, Mr. Nick! Ow! She punches deceptively hard for a kid. I believed in you. I kept saying to myself, Mr. Nick will save her. Mr. Nick will save her. Ah. Thanks. Oh. What's wrong? Miss Von Karma. Oh, hi, Francie. About earlier. Thanks. That's how she says you're welcome, I guess. Why are you still smiling, Mr. Phoenix Wright? You lost! Your perfect win record has now been crushed. And yet, you're still happy? I don't think you'll ever understand, Miss Von Karma. How dare you! Don't worry. She may in time. After all, I was like that myself until a year ago. Edgeworth. For my own personal victories, and for guilty verdicts. I used every dirty trick in the book, and so my win record remains spotless. But a man appeared and stood fast against that selfish me. I fought him in my usual manner and tasted my first defeat. I felt like I had lost everything because of that. And then... it was my turn to sit in the defendant's chair. And I was saved by that person I called my enemy. I couldn't forgive myself for all that had happened, so I left the prosecutor's office. And I left that note. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death. As well you should have. A prosecutor who has shamed himself with defeat should crawl into a hole and die. You know, I beat you a couple of times too, Francie. But that wasn't what happened. After I left the prosecutor's office, I finally came to realize something. It was in that moment of clarity that everything began to change. What foolish nonsense. We prosecutors use anything we can to attack the defendant. But every time we did so, no matter how desperate the situation, instead of giving up like most people, that man would hold strong with his undying faith. And then, before I knew it, I began to trust in that man as well. What? You trusted your enemy? It doesn't matter how many underhanded tricks a person uses. The truth will always find a way to make itself known. The only thing we can do is to fight with the knowledge we hold in everything we have. Erasing the paradoxes one by one. It's never easy. We claw and scratch for every inch. But we will always eventually reach that one single truth. This I promise you. The truth. Yes, that's the reason why prosecutors and defense attorneys exist. But I'm sure you knew that already, didn't you, right? That's why you couldn't forgive me, this man who went into hiding. Isn't that right? This man who only had his sights set on victory, who ran away into the night. Ah, is Mr. Edgeworth right, Mr. Nick? You really let me down. When you disappeared, I felt betrayed. The reason I decided to become a lawyer to begin with was because I believed in the things you said to me. All those years ago. And you betrayed your own words. That's why, 1 year ago, I made up my mind. I decided that the Miles Edgeworth I knew had died. At least, that's what I told myself. You pathetic fool. Miss Von Karma? I don't want to hear the wretched whimpering of a disgraced loser. A Von Karma is someone who is destined to be perfect. Miles Edgeworth, you are no longer worthy. You are no longer worthy of being a Von Karma. And neither am I. It's over. It's all over. Francisca threw something on the ground just now. This is an electromagnetic receiver. Isn't that the thing she used to track Detective Gumshoe? I'll return this to the precinct later. There's something else. No, her whip. Isn't that Miss Von Karma's whip? I'll never set foot in another courtroom again. I'm sure that's what she's saying by this action. You should keep this, right? No? Okay. Nick! There you are, Maya. Bring it in, Maya. Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! Aww. Oh, Nick, I knew you'd come through. You got Enguarde convicted like I knew you would. And on top of that, you even rescued me. Of course I did. You knew I'd never desert you. But we sure pressed our luck this trial. You're really lucky to be standing here. Whatever, whatever. Look, it's over, okay? Besides, if I did croak, I'd just come back and haunt you like a bad ghost through Pearly. Is it really that easy to do something like that? Thanks a lot, Nick. Don't mention it. Maya. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm relieved you're alright. Hey, it looks like you made some real progress, Mr. Edgeworth. Well, I suppose I'm a little different from who I was a year ago. What the hell was that? Oh, yeah, she is starving. She is gonna eat so many burgers. Food, Nick, food! Grub, chow, I'm starved! I'm so hungry, even you look like a nice juicy burger on a bun to me, Nick. You think I look like a burger? I'm a prime rib at least. Come with us, Mr. Edgeworth, please. If you insist. Alright, so how about we hit up our usual burger joint? Don't be silly, Nick. Huh? This case messed up that awesome evening and even got in the way of my gourmet food. So I decided we have to make it up by having another feast. Another feast? Come on, Nick, food! Oh. Hey, pal, sorry to keep you guys waiting. Oh. Well, I hope you're all... Gumshoe, are you alright? Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed. I didn't think I'd hit a telephone pole of all things. Telephone pole? Then it wasn't a red light that got him. Did it again, city boy. Felt like my dear old heart was gonna give out on me, and I ain't joking. Yeah, it was more exciting than the very last episode of this Steel Samurai. Thanks. Now look at here, Mr. Snooty Prosecutor. Don't you reckon you bullied Mr. Right too hard? If you don't start being a lot nicer to him, you might just kick it. Tonight, even. I'll keep that in mind. Come on now, everyone gather round. Y'all are gonna get your picture taken by a genuine professional photographer. Looks like Lotta bought herself a new camera. Oh, pal, at least we can put this messy case behind us now. Come on, tonight's all about eating, so let's go chow down, pal. Amen to that, pal. Amen. You know, when you think about it, you were the one who saved the day, Detective. Me? You really think so? He's right. If it wasn't for the 3 items you took, I think this trial would have had a very different ending. Ah, well, you know, it's... Huh? Wait. That's odd. When I ran off with the things from the killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things in total, sir. What? 4? Huh? Yeah, I'm sure I put one of those items in my coat pocket. There was a 4th item. Ah, come on, y'all, it's over. But who, boy, I tell you, you really are something else. Been getting accused of murder and getting kidnapped. Never a dull moment with you, huh? Huh, you think? Why she look so happy about that? But being shut away for 2 whole days. Weren't you scared? Yeah, it was really scary. I felt so hopeless. So to keep my mind off things, I drew a picture. Sounds like you had it rough, gal. So where is this picture of yours? Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see Mystic Maya's picture. You know, I don't know where it went. Aw, that's too bad. Well, it's alright. Wasn't anything important anyway. Sure is nice to finally see them both smiling again. What's this? Is it for you, Edgeworth? What is it, Edgeworth? It was a picture of Monokuma. Hope not. This thing is picking something up. Oh, that's Miss Von Karma's receiver. Thanks to her, I had the most awful experience of my life, sir. Can't believe she stuck a tracking device on me. That's odd. Even though you're standing right here, the tracking device seems to be in a different location. Oh, it's probably busted or something, sir. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm afraid it's about time for me to excuse myself. I still have some work to do. Huh? But Mr. Edgeworth, you haven't even eaten anything yet. And you've eaten way too much, you glutton. Dude, she was starved for 2 whole days. Give her a break. I had fun tonight. Now if you'll excuse me. Wait. What? I just want to say, thanks, Edgeworth. You really saved me out there. If anyone should be saying thanks, it should be me, right? I feel like words alone aren't enough here. I wonder if there's anything I can give him to express how I feel. Okay, I think it's... What's this? Thank you. It's all thanks to you two. You and her. You don't need to thank me. I was only doing my job. It looks like Mr. Edgeworth has left, Mr. Nick. Hey, Mystic Maya. Yes, Pearly? I guess you two can go back to being lovey-dovey, right? You and Mr. Nick, I mean. Pearly! What, did you cut it out already? You're embarrassing me. Anyway. So, who's paying for this lovely dinner party? As if you need to ask. Everyone say thank you to Nick. Oh, God. Huh? Yeah, I'm kind of at the point where I can't even buy instant noodles, pal. So I kind of already put your name on the bill. Huh? Yeah, I got me in a situation just like that myself. There's this camera shop in this hotel, see? And I just bought myself this good old beauty here. It better be anyhow for $3,000. Holy... $3,000? Anyway, I reckon you bought it for me since it's on your tab and I'll... You bitch! Huh. Isn't this great, Mr. Nick? No, it's not! Yeah, Nick. Why do I suddenly feel like screaming? Anyway, you don't need to hold back now, you hear? Yeah, pal, time to let it all out. This is gonna be the first time I hear the real you. Go on, it's been a while since I've heard you say it. I've been busy being a hostage and all. Alright then, if you say so. Okay. Well, that was the end of... the second, Phoenix Wright game. Hey, this is kind of... This is all that dialogue's running on auto, by the way. This one and the third one didn't have the, didn't have a fifth, bonus case, unlike the first one. My thoughts, still a great one. I mean, nothing I can say for this one that I didn't say for the first game. I'm not sure how people typically rank the games in terms of best to worst. I mean, the third case in this game, the one with the circus and everything, is actually often regarded as people's least favorite, but it was still pretty good. And then of course there was that last one we just finished. Again, as long-winded as it was. Most people regard that one as the best. Oh, hey, Maggie, we haven't seen you in a while. Keep what she said in mind for later, by the way. Oh. Not you. Uh-huh. Yes, I'm sure you'd like it. Does anybody? So yeah, when next I come back to this, we'll be ready to start the final game of this trilogy, Trials and Tribulations. She's still sweeping for bugs. Again, it was. Yeah, I think they did. He just wanted... Edgeworth just wanted her out of everyone's way. Well, that's good. I hope she's not in there long. Ah, yes, you. Huh? And there's still more. Where are you going, Francisca? How did you know I was here? With this? That's... I heard you were planning things on a certain person. Things like tracking devices in his coat, for example. That's just like you. I only planted it there because he was always wearing it. This filthy drab coat of his. I don't know how it ended up in my luggage. But it's going in the trash, I promise you that. Poor Dick's gonna have to buy a new coat then. Oh, that's right, speaking of that man. He told me something very interesting. When I ran off the things from D. Killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things in total, sir. Yeah, what a... 4 things. It seems he put the last one in his coat pocket. put it in here? It doesn't matter anymore. The case is already over. I don't... What are you gonna do now? That's none of your business. Are you running away? Shut up! You don't understand a thing. You can't possibly understand what it means to be Manfred von Karma's daughter. Franziska. So many expectations from everyone around me. Expectations I must fulfill. I'm expected to win no matter what, and failure, such a thing is not an option for me. My father was a genius, there's no doubt about that, but me? I'm no genius. I've always known that. Oh? Are we finally going to see some humility from her? But I had to be the one. I had to. Yeah, I mean, Edgeworth seemed to feel the same way. You may not be a genius like your father, but you are a prosecutor. You have been and always will be. No, I'm not. Not anymore. I've even thrown my whip away. Speaking of that, Wright gave me this to hold on to. Right. You knew something like this would happen, didn't you? I'm going to say this again. We prosecutors do not fight for personal honor or pride. I hope you'll think deeply about what you should be striking down with that whip. You haven't changed a bit. You've always left me alone and walked on ahead without me. Miles Edgeworth. I've always hated you. Oh. And then, finally, my chance to take my revenge on you arrived. If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix Wright bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. That was supposed to be my revenge. I see. You know, I can't do it. I can't change who I am. I can't throw away everything I've been until today. I believe you can. Just like how Adrian Andrews did. Adrian Andrews? You were going to use her during the trial, right? But you were dependent on your father by using his tactics. Isn't that right? Today you chased after me, after I left you behind all these years. And that's why we're standing here now, side by side. But I have no intention of stopping. If you say you're going to quit your walk down the prosecutor's path, then this is where we part ways, Franziska von Karma. Aw. I am Franziska von Karma. Don't think I'm going to walk in your shadow forever. Our battle begins now. So you better prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth. Take good care of this fourth piece. Is it what I think it is? Oh, it is. It's that drawing of Maya's. Alright, that was officially it. Okay. I still have some time left. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do some Mega Maker for the last for another hour. So I'll see you in a few minutes.